Ian Lara's stand-up comedy special, Romantic Comedy, is available now on HBO. You guys know I love stand-up comedy. I'm a big fan. Ian is a Dominican comic, so right away it's even more of a kudos. And I had been following Ian already on IG, but I hadn't really seen too much of his material outside from some clips that he would put on Instagram. And, because I follow so many comics and podcasters, whenever there's like an interesting guest on the podcast that I listen to, or just like the algorithms, right? Because I follow so many comedians, I see a bunch of comedians and clips and shit like that. If I happen to like them, when they come across my feed, I just follow them. But again, hadn't seen too much of his stuff. But then I saw him, begin to do the rounds to promote the special. And he was, for example, on The Breakfast Club with Ada Rodriguez. And shout out to her, by the way, because she's really dope. Very funny comic, but I think she's especially dope in like her loyalty and at least the type of person that she seems to be, the vibe I get from her. Obviously, I don't know her. Ada is also Dominican and half Puerto Rican, but don't worry, Ada, I'm not going to hold that against you. Just kidding. But I first learned who Ada was through Tiffany Haddish, who I'm also a fan of. She went up to the Breakfast Club once, or obviously she's been there a bunch of times, but one of the times that Tiffany was on there, she took Ada with her and introduced her as one of her longtime friends within stand-up comedy. And what Tiffany did, which was so dope, is that when she was blowing up and got a Netflix deal for her special, she took part of the deal that she got and pitched it to Netflix, and they obviously agreed that instead of her doing multiple specials, she did her one special, I believe, maybe two, but I think it was just one. And then with the rest of the money, she chopped it up into multiple half-hour specials for a few of her friends and colleagues that she came up with in comedy, one of them being Ada Rodriguez. And that's how Ada got put on there. And she's always been like super respectful and paying homage to Tiffany for that. But I got that similar type of vibe with Ada doing that for Ian. And this is just my speculation, but Ada had since been on The Breakfast Club multiple times by herself. And I saw her on there with Ian Lara as he's promoting, again, this HBO stand-up special that he has out right now, Romantic Comedy. And they were also on Charlamagne's Comedy Central show, Hell of a Week. They were on it together there as well, again, making the rounds. But I just wanted to highlight that and salute Ada for that, because I think that's super dope. But yeah, this is the first full special that I've seen of Ian's. It might be his first special out. I believe it is, but I'm not 100% on that. But it's definitely the first like large body of work outside from IG clips that I saw, and it definitely did not disappoint. Aside from being a New York comic, from being Dominican, and like the content itself resonating with me, or a lot of it, there's definitely something about his cadence and his delivery that I appreciate as well. He has this funny bit about Groupon making traveling like way too accessible, because he's like, dudes from the hood now are going to Iceland for like $175, and all they want to do is come back and speak to you about the Northern Lights for like 3 hours. He speaks about vacation as a kid, which I'm sure every Dominican could relate with. He's like, our parents don't take us to Florida or Disney. They take us back to the worst parts of DR, of their home country, just to show the kids what their life could be like if they keep acting up at home. And a funny ass bit about being out of the dating scene for a while and then going back into it, and like sex moves, updating, and how he was messing around with this 6 from Minnesota, and she was practically like eye gouging him, and he had recently just had like LASIK surgery. But then like the bit is about how guys will pretty much do anything for sex as long as they're getting it. They're not as picky as women, which is a popular premise, I'd say. But I love when premises that are like reused are delivered in like new and interesting ways, right? That's one of the more fascinating aspects of an art form like comedy, or just like writing in general and telling stories. But he's like explaining the situation with this 6 from Minnesota and how she's like eye gouging him, and he had recently had LASIK surgery, but he's like so invested in the whole, fuck it, at least I'm having sex thing, that he's like, fuck it, I'll just go blind, fuck it, I'm not gonna tell her to stop. This one had me dying. He goes, how men aren't like women when it comes to like speaking with their boys. They don't like let out their feelings and have awkward conversations. And then one of his boys they were all hanging out, and he was like, yo, I was with this chick the other night, and I don't know what happened. Everything was going good. We had a good day. We went back to my place. We started fooling around. I took off my clothes, and then she just got up and she said she had to go to work and she had to bounce. Do you guys think that's a bad sign? And and I'm paraphrasing, by the way, but he's like, nah, yo, you know, she's probably on call or something. She's probably like a doctor, you know? Sometimes they just got to go to work. He had a line where he said that married men think the way that men coming out of prison dress, which is hilarious. And he fleshed that out a bit. He had a few callbacks throughout the special, going back to the whole Groupon thing. He also speaks about his mom being in the US for 40 years and not speaking a lick of English, and says that the level of dedication there not to learn English requires Navy SEAL level training, which is so true, right? Fucking hilarious. Again, Ian Lara's stand-up comedy special, romantic comedy, is available now on HBO. Ada Rodriguez, by the way, directed it. Very funny special. You guys should definitely check it out.